It really takes one person to ruin thousands of other people's lives.
The idea of an animated skeleton is a lot less scary when you realize a skeleton only weighs about 7 pounds.
Beer is the only drink that's acceptable to be served in a glass that's overflowing and dripping all over the place.
The older you get, the more of an inconvenience it becomes to select your date of birth out of a drop-down menu.
A vampire doesn't have to be invited in if they are your landlord.
Assassin's Creed protagonists fight really well despite having most of their peripheral vision blocked with a hood.
When people talk about traveling to the past, they worry about radically changing the present by doing something small, but barely anyone in the present really thinks that they can radically change the future by doing something small.
Even though we know we can't read in dreams, it doesn't help us realize we're in a dream.
The reason we don't recall many dreams is because they occur almost exclusively within the visual cortex, without needing to send info to the hippocampus.
A bad dream is actually a good one and vice versa, since you wake up and realize it wasn't real.
Eating a spoonful of frosting by itself is healthier than eating a cupcake with the same amount of frosting on it.
Despite having a hammer with him so often, you rarely see Thor doing any carpentry.
2000s movies feel modern until you see flip phones and it's suddenly 20 years old, outdated.
Not all heroes wear capes used to reference first responders and such. But most mainstream superheroes don't wear capes.
Among is a weird word.
Everybody talks about the smell, but the real important aspect of the fart is that it comes out at 98.6 degrees.
Losing your health with age might be the only problem in life you can actually run away from. Because that is good cardio.
It's starting to look like we will solve aging before we find a cure for the common cold.
Stars only twinkle because of how our eyes see light. We still draw them as five-pointed shapes when we know they are spheres.
Now for a quick break. Stay tuned for more shower thoughts. Ad spot companies have to make an advertisement for an advertisement.
Lip readers can be fluent in multiple accents of the same language.
All the hype for chocolate milk, but why we ain't make peanut butter milk a thing yet?
Never underestimate the power of one committed person to cause a traffic jam.
The only difference between intuition and impulse is the result.
Some of us will be the fossils that future scientists will study.
More ICE drivers deal with dead batteries on a daily basis than EV drivers.
You might be the smartest person on the planet, but too modest to admit it to yourself. I'm Bob Jeffy.
And I'm Lorelei Stewart. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow with more shower thoughts. Bye for now.
If you like this podcast, check out our other podcast, Daily Facts. This podcast gives you interesting tidbits of information to impress your friends, family, and colleagues with. So get smarter in less than 10 minutes a day. Just search for Daily Facts in your podcast app or check the show notes page for the link. This podcast was produced by Klassic Studios. Please see the show notes page for source credits.